The 9:47 commuter train that carried Dariella Fonseca Whitlock home that night was never scheduled to run, and the Transit Authority has the empty rotation sheet to prove it. She was 26, a lab technician at a soil testing firm off the industrial belt east of Halverson Junction. Late nights were normal for her that spring. Backlog, understaffing, a supervisor who left early. She would catch whatever train came last, ride 4 stops to Corliss Avenue, and walk home past the shuttered pharmacy. That was the routine. Coffee from the platform vending machine that only ever gave lukewarm cups, the smell of creosote and wet gravel. She remembers the train being nearly empty. One man in the front car asleep or pretending to be. She took the middle car and sat by the window. The first thing that was wrong was small enough to ignore. At the third stop, the doors opened onto an empty platform. Nobody boarded, nobody left. The doors held open the usual interval, then closed. Trains do this. Automated stops, off-peak schedules. She thought nothing of it. It happened again at the next station, and the one after. Then she noticed the sign sliding past the glass. Corliss Avenue, her stop. The train did not slow. She walked forward to the conductor's cabin. Locked. She pressed the emergency intercom mounted beside the doors and got a wash of static that did not change no matter which button she held. The recorded stop announcements had stopped playing somewhere back around the 4th station. She only realized this in hindsight. The next platform came out of the dark, and it stayed dark. Every fixture off. Halverson line stations are lit continuously for safety, and the maintenance logs for that corridor show no reported outage that week. A figure stood at the far end of the platform, back to the train. Dark jacket, grey scarf, the same charcoal coat with the torn left cuff that Dariella was wearing. She noticed the cuff specifically. She had caught it on a cabinet latch at work that afternoon. As the train pulled away, the figure did not turn. She moved back through the cars. The rear car was not empty. Bags lay across the seats, a canvas tote, a leather satchel, a child's backpack, coats folded over armrests, a paperback splayed open, spine cracked. The belongings of people who were not there and, judging by the dust, had not been there in a long time. Inside the leather satchel she found a wallet. Inside the wallet, tucked behind a transit pass issued to a name she did not recognize, was a photograph of herself. Younger, shorter hair, standing in front of a building she remembered demolishing years ago from a bus window. She does not remember the photograph being taken. She went back to the cabin and forced the door with a fire extinguisher pried off the wall. Behind it, the controls were live and unattended. The throttle was set. The route selector was locked to a designation she photographed with her phone before the battery died. Line 7, Delmarva Branch. The Delmarva branch was decommissioned in 1971 after a passenger train departed Halverson Junction with 51 aboard and was never located. Not the cars. Not the people. The track was pulled up in sections. The maps were revised. She pulled the emergency brake at a siding near the woods and climbed down onto the ballast. She walked until she found Route 82 and flagged a county patrol car at 2 in the morning. The officer noted she was calm. Unusually calm. He wrote that she kept checking her own left cuff. The Transit Authority insisted no train had run. But the siding switch had been thrown and a maintenance crew found the brake handle pulled and a fire extinguisher missing from car 3 of a set that was supposed to be in storage. Investigators pulled footage from the last operational station on the corridor, Ferron Street, the terminus before the deadline begins. The recording shows Dariella stepping off the train onto the platform, alone. She walks out of frame toward the exit. She does not return. 12 seconds later, the train departs the station empty. She remembers none of this. She remembers staying aboard until the siding. The wallet was logged into evidence. The name behind the transit pass belonged to a woman reported missing on the Delmarva branch in 1971. The photograph of Dariella was sent for analysis. The paper stock and processing chemistry were consistent with film developed decades before she was born. There was one more thing in the file, added late, initialed by a technician who has since transferred to another district and will not return calls. The photograph of Dariella had been taken from inside a moving train. It shows her asleep in her seat, coat cuff torn, in a car matching the middle carriage. She is not looking at the camera. She does not know it is there. Behind her, in the black mirror of the window, someone is sitting in the seat directly across from her. The seat in the photograph is empty.